Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Pavla Niklova. I'm the Executive Director of the Vaclav Havel Library Foundation, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the spring weekend of stage readings prepared by the Havel Foundation together with the Bohemian, Benevolent and Literary Association. Those stage readings are part of our annual Rehearsal for Truth Theatre Festival honoring Václav Havel. During this and next weekend, we are presenting live online readings of contemporary plays by award-winning European playwrights from the Czech Republic, Hungary, Slovakia, and Poland. And for the first time, we also presented works by young playwrights who won the Best Minidrama Student Contest that is annually organized by the Havel Foundation. I would like to thank all partners who helped us put together this series. They are Theatre Institute in Prague, Theatre Institute in Budapest, Polish Cultural Institute in New York, and our main today's partners are Slovak Consulate General in New York and Slovak Theatre Institute in Bratislava. This program would not be possible without the support from the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs in partnership with the City Council and Council member Ben Kallos. Thank you very much to all of you. Then, of course, we would like to thank all the terrific directors and the cast who were courageous enough to join us to tackle the European plays on Zoom. Don't worry about pronunciation of weird words in Slovak or Hungarian. It's totally fine. We sometimes don't know them correctly either. So we are really happy to have a wonderful group of American artists working with us. And we hope that one day maybe these plays will be presented on real stages, or on the other hand, that some of our American actors will be able to perform in Europe. So thank you very much for joining us. Today, you will see the reading of the play Hot Summer of '68, How We Ran, by Slovak author William Klimáček. Welcome. Also, I'd like to welcome our other guests, translator Katarína Kokrel, the director of today's reading, Christina Franklin, and Zuzana Uličianska, who's chair of the Slovak Center International Association of Theatre Critics. Zuzana is a theatre critic, journalist, and playwright herself. Many of her radio plays were awarded prizes in Slovakia and abroad, and were aired by various radio stations around Europe. Zuzana has been working with the Rehearsal for Truth Festival since its first year in 2017, and she's here today to introduce the director and his play.
Yeah. Hello. Good afternoon to United States and good evening to Europe. It's my great pleasure that I am able to introduce a phenomenon called William Klimáček to English-speaking audience. It's very easy to say that he's the most prolific playwright in Slovakia. He has been writing plays, maybe a couple of plays each year for more than 30 years or already. So it makes quite a long list of his plays, and it makes him really one of the most important theater figure in our country. He founded the theater called Gunagu in Bratislava in mid-80s. If you happen to know Slovak language, you can tell that it means nothing in Slovak language as well as it means nothing in English. It's just the perfect Dadaist expression to connect with the absurd humor that this theater is using, and which is maybe amazing. William Klimáček started his career as a surgeon and as an anesthesiologist, if I'm right, and he studied medicine in Bratislava. And it was only later on he completely devoted his career to theater and to writing, occasionally also directing, and really sometimes even acting. He's really the head of his small theater that is based in the basement literary of old town in Bratislava center. And it consists of loyal team of actors, but also a very loyal audience that is really, you know, aging with him, and it's he is able to attract younger and younger audience as well. And there is no need to talk about a lot of awards he was given both in Czech Republic and in Slovakia. But we have to mention that he's not writing for his own theater, but also for big scenes such as Slovak National Theatre, such as the Theatre Arena in Bratislava. And they were quite big topics, sometimes based on history, which is also the case for this play we are going to listen to. And sometimes also with some documentary elements in them. If I just say plays communism, plays Holocaust, were presented during important festivals and also staged abroad. The play Communism was just a couple of days ago read in Italian. So I think just a few words about the play itself. I could see this production during one summer evening. It was within the summer festival. Everyone was really happy and laughing about this at the three actresses that presented the play. But I don't think we should take this play at face value. It's definitely not a comedy, and it's not a cookbook, though quite a few of sentences are discussing some recipes and quality of flavor and quality of bread. I think it's much more important, and definitely losing and escaping and running from our home country is not a comedy. Definitely it's a quite stressful experience, and this is what the play by William Klimáček is about. And I think I would like to ask William to talk about his inspiration and basically the story of this, how the play and later on also the prosaic book came to life.
Dobrý večer. Tieto udalosti, o ktorých hovorí moja hra, prebehli, keď som mal 10 rokov.
Good evening. The events that I will be talking about in the play took place when I was 10 years old.
Krajinu, ktorá už dnes neexistuje a volala sa Československo, vtedy obsadili tanky 5 armád, v skratke sa tomu hovorí ruské tanky, lebo to bola tá najväčšia armáda, ale bolo ich 5.
The country that no longer exists, it was Czechoslovakia at the time, was invaded by tanks of 5 different countries. So it was an invasion of 5 different countries, but everybody recalls it as the Russian tanks.
Táto invázia prebehla preto, lebo Československo sa relatívne úspešne pokúšalo dať socializmu, ako sa vtedy hovorilo, ľudskú tvár, humanizovať tento režim. A to sa zdalo Moskve nebezpečné, lebo by sa to mohlo rozšíriť, aj sa rozšírilo v 89. do celej Európy, ale v 68. boli sme rýchli ešte.
The invasion took place because the Russian oligarchs thought that Czechoslovakia was on the path. We were trying to put a human face on socialism. It was the so-called socialism with a human face at the time, and the Russians thought that it was really dangerous because they feared the spread of this socialism with the human face, which indeed it did spread, but it was much later in 1989.
A keď vo svojom rodnom meste, lebo býval som v malom meste, na ulici, kde ste sa učili bicyklovať, vidíte tanky, tak to do konca života nezabudnete.
And I come from a small town, and when in my small town, the street where I was learning to ride a bike was suddenly full of tanks, that is something that you will never forget.
Impulzom k napísaniu tejto hry bol jeden pán z Toronta, Dušan Todt, ktorý je, okrem toho, že je evanjelický farár, je zároveň vyštudovaný herec a má v Toronte vlastné divadlo.
The inspiration for this was a gentleman from Toronto who is not only a Lutheran priest, but he's also studied, and so he was a great inspiration for this play.
On v 68. sa do Toronta dostal cez Spojené štáty, kde istý čas pracoval ako kňaz. Potom tam mám príbehy ľudí, ktorí išli cez Izrael, išli cez Londýn, išli cez západné Nemecko a viac menej sa všetci stretli v Toronte. A tam som ich navštívil a mal som 35 pracovných, veľmi silných rozhovorov.
This gentleman came to Toronto through the United States, and there were many others. They came through Israel, they came through West Germany, they came through other countries, and they all ended up as immigrants there. And when I visited, I had 35 work meetings that were very strong that helped me with the basis for this play.
Ako mi neskôr povedali, títo ľudia vlastne až vtedy prvýkrát sa odhodlali hovoriť o svojej traume, ktorou je emigrácia a odchod zo svojej vlasti. A tie ich monológy boli tak úžasné, že som ich okrem hry po rokoch spracoval aj v románe.
These people were telling me things that in essence, this was sometimes for the first time for many of them that they dared to speak about the trauma of leaving their country, the trauma of being an immigrant. So these were things that they did not convey to other people before. And this was very fruitful for me. I was able to process it into a play. And many years later, I also created a novel based on that.
Napriek povedanému, moja hra nie je tragédia, je tragikomédia, alebo čierna komédia s tým čechovským smiechom cez slzy, pretože v týchto dramatických momentoch emigrácie bolo veľa komických okamihov, ale nechcene komických. Nikto ten humor negeneroval, neplánoval, ale stával sa im, keď sa nevedeli dohovoriť. A to som dal do mojej hry, pretože si ctím pravidlo, že o vážnych veciach, ak sa dá, by sa malo hovoriť trošku vtipne.
My play is definitely not a comedy, but it's also not a tragedy. Those are sometimes really tragic events, but it's good to look at them through the lens of humor, and sometimes just like Chekhov's tragic comedy, it's nice to laugh through the tears. And I think it's honoring these people and honoring their stories by being able to talk about very serious things with a little bit of humor.
A posledná veta, že všetko v tej hre sa skutočne stalo, len podľa licencie poetiky som to zhustil do troch postav, čiže to je veľmi silne zlisovaná skutočná realita v troch postavách a zažilo ju 30.
And just the last thing that I wanted to mention is that the things that you will hear are things that actually happened. I only distilled them into the stories of 3 people, although in essence they happen to maybe 30 different people, but it's a compressed story. So everything is real. Those things happened.
A predsa len poslednú vetu. Dáma, ktorá to celé iniciovala, manželka pána Tóta, sa volala Valéria Tótová a je to asi rok, čo zomrela. Tak je tu pod menom Erika v tejto hre. Je to tá manželka evangelického farára a preto by som si dovolil tento reading venovať Valérii Tótovej. Ďakujem.
And perhaps just one more thing, I wanted to mention that my friend, the Lutheran priest who was, his name is Todd, his wife's name was Totova. She is presented here as Erika, and she recently passed away only about a year ago. So I would like to dedicate this reading to her. Thank you.
Vilo, Susanna, and Katarina, thank you very much for your kind introduction. And I would like to invite our audience to send us also questions. You can do it through Q&A at the bottom of your screen, and the cast and the author will be back after the reading to answer them. Thank you very much and enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dear spectators, we will not cook in this play. We will only talk about cooking. Girls, are you cooking?
I don't cook much, but I have a tremendous respect for cooking.
I started when I was 10. It was a hot dog sauce. Erika, what do you like to cook?
Made up soup. In other words, out of nothing. Whatever you find at home, throw it in a pot. It may seem like we are making this play up out of nothing, but that's not true. Everything we act about really happened. It was very hot in August of 1968, and I was making pickles.
In August of 68, I graduated from medical school and my dad let me borrow the car for the first time.
In August 68, I ate pears for the last time.
I take 2 allspice berries, 4 peppercorns, 1 clove, 1 bay leaf, a pinch of ground cinnamon, half a teaspoon of mustard seeds, 4 carrot coins, 2 slices of horseradish, 2 slices of onion, and a twig of dill, and I put them each in a jar.
I am driving all by myself for the first time. I'm going so slowly that even tractors pass me.
I love pears.
My dad protects this Skoda Felicia as the apple of his eye. He always says to me,
Remember, my daughter, that a citizen of the Czechoslovak Socialist Republic only has 3 options of how to overcome the frustration of living behind barbed wire. He can have sex, steal, or pass other cars.
Have sex at home, steal at work, and always pass other cars. Zoom, zoom.
I had no idea it was so bad.
It's even worse.
One time, I found a jar of prune plum compote from the cellar from 1950. I didn't understand my mom. Why was she keeping it? We couldn't eat it. Now I understand. When she was making the plum compote, she preserved the air of those times. Even though that period was not much, she didn't want to forget it because it was her life. We're not preserving compotes. We're preserving time.
In August of 68, my dad lets me borrow the car for the first time.
In August 68, I am making pickles.
In August 68, I am eating pears for the last time.
My husband and I started dating in high school. Joseph was an excellent student, but the moment he applied for the Evangelical Divinity School, they barely let him graduate. Before graduation, I was told that I would not get the recommendation to attend university because I came from a capitalist family.
But you had nothing.
Grandpa had a tailoring shop
Shop?
and 2 assistants.
Only 2?
Watch out, 3 Singer sewing machines.
What kind of capitalist was that?
Either way, that was the reason why I didn't get to go to college. Unlike my classmate, whose dad used to be a commander in the Hlinka Guard, but today was an exemplary communist. So I went to work in a military hospital as a lab technician for a year, and I analyzed military urine on a daily basis. So as a workers cadre, I was immediately accepted to university. And my husband finished his studies too and was waiting to be ordained. The whole family was supposed to meet at Mudra. The chickens were roasting and the cakes were decorated. Before then, he was called into the official in charge of religious affairs.
Welcome, comrade. I guess I shouldn't call you that. But you come from a family of workers and farmers, correct?
Said the official.
More a farmer's family. My parents labor in the vineyard and sometimes I help them.
Said Joseph.
Ah, that must be beautiful. The sun is shining, the grapes are swelling, and suddenly it is white wine. We need you to keep us informed about everything that is happening in church.
Me?
The church is rebellious. They don't understand that Czechoslovakia is socialist now. You got time until tomorrow.
Said the official.
I would rather be a regular man than an informed priest.
Said her husband and left.
A few days later, he got a draft notice. Reported for his military duty, and so his ordination into Czechoslovakia never took place.
Attention! Left face, forward, march. Left, left, halt! At ease. I am your commander, and my name is what? My name is Root, Captain Root. I don't fold easily because I have tough roots. Comrades, we will make men out of you here. How? Leave that to us. Dismissed! You, private, stay here. Do you smoke? How do you like the unit?
I am not very good at weapons, Comrade Major.
Do you refuse to hold a weapon, comrade? You can go to jail for that. How? Immediately.
I am not refusing. I just want to make sure I don't hurt somebody accidentally.
Comrade Private, we know who you are. We know everything. We know you are burdened by religion. I understand. How? Easily. Religion is kind of like darkness, right?
It looks like light to me.
Listen, Private. Now you have a chance to be a new man. What would you say if we made you, and now listen to me carefully, if we made a communist out of you?
I am a pastor, Comrade Major.
Captain. Just captain.
Things can happen.
Are you making fun of me? Attention! I will turn this military service into hell for you, Comrade Pastor. A hell that even your Bible does not know. How? You'll see. You will cry holy water. About face. Forward march. Halt. Think about my offer. You would not be the first pastor that turned.
The captain saw himself in a picture on the front page of the Red Justice. Captain Root crushed the class enemy.
Think, comrade.
It is such a big decision that I have to consult my wife.
All right. I'll grant you leave, Private. Go. Consult.
And Joseph was granted leave after leave, and we consulted and consulted always until the morning. And that's how our Pete was born. But then Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev, Petra, play Khrushchev, the one that banged his shoe on the UN to quiet the critics.
No good. Capitalist idiots, no good.
Decided to place Russian nuclear missiles in Cuba. World War III had never been so close as during the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962.
Comrades, in the event of a sudden nuclear attack, we immediately take an iodine tablet and lie down which way? Feet toward the epicenter, comrades. Then some atomic mushroom cloud cannot beat us. Long live peace!
Joseph was supposed to be discharged in a few days, but he wasn't, because due to the Cuban Missile Crisis, they extended everyone's military service, except for those who were accepted to universities. Joseph, panicking, was sending applications everywhere, but a pastor was not even worth answering. When he was totally desperate, he got a single invitation. And girls, you will not be able to guess from where.
Food science?
Mining school?
From the Academy of the Performing Arts. Do you want to act in the Orchestra Theater?
Do you want to act in the Slovak National Theater?
Do you want to freelance and act in Gunagu?
Attend the Academy of the Performing Arts. Joseph had nothing to lose. He put on his dress uniform and traveled to Bratislava for the entrance exam. The committee consisted of the cream of the crop in Slovak acting. Chudik, Zakar, Zaborski, Boots. To this day, I have no idea how it happened, but the fact is, my Joe, an unordained pastor, became an actor.
Pity.
What?
Pity. Skoda Felicia shines on the Czechoslovak asphalt like an orange on a pile of potatoes. In it for a brief moment, you can feel like James Dean on Highway 66. My father is the technical director of the national company Sonola. It is the largest company in Czechoslovakia that makes medical equipment. When Christian Barnard, the one who performed the first heart transplant in the world, visited, it was my father who gave him the tour of the factory. Of course, Dad is a communist. Anyone who wants to achieve anything in Czechoslovakia is a communist. But wait, people like him because he helped many of them. He found an apartment for someone, got another one's son to college. We have many friends. My father is the author of 5 Czechoslovak and 3 world patents that our party and government sold abroad for breathtaking amounts in dollars. Of course, we get nothing out of that. But we have good lives. I got used to dresses from Paris that he brings from business trips. I know that most people cannot even travel to Bulgaria, and we vacation on the Adriatic, and last year we were in Italy. But I start every day with a cup of Nescafe with milk.
I start every day with the standard coffee beans from the Prague Packaging Company.
PGT.
La la la, Nutella.
Margarine cheers me up too.
Und in the afternoon, one real Mozart bar. Only one. One?
Soy candy bar.
Roomba.
Kofila.
Pedro bubblegum.
Chocolate cat tongues.
Paris bulba. Pipe tobacco.
I don't smoke much. Camels exclusively.
Marika with filter.
We do have some things in common, girls. I mean, who can resist the aroma of BB pudding in a bowl? I graduated from medical school with honors, and I started the Department of Internal Medicine in Trentin. I never had it better than today.
Before the summer holidays in 1968, rumors started floating around Bratislava.
They say there will be a summer job in Israel.
They say there will be a summer job in Israel.
It's true. A summer job in Israel. Ladislav Minachko and his wife are organizing it.
That writer?
The one. The Minachkos want for young people from Czechoslovakia to learn about Israel and how it really is. Guys, I'm going. Even if I miss the enrollment for next school year.
Your parents let you go?
You bet. Israel is Israel. The School of Philosophy can wait. Okay, well, Dad was mad a bit. He was really mad, but I repeated to him his own words. A real Jew should always have two things ready: a packed suitcase and a passport. So he wasn't mad for long. After the never-ending journey in the middle of hot summer, we finally arrived. And ever since then, we were called Minachko's kids. We are staying in Kibbutz Masaryk, which was founded a long time ago by the immigrants from Czechoslovakia. In Hebrew, it's called Kfar Masaryk. The first sentence from my diary. It is so hot here that nobody even wants to make out, except Milan and I. And it's even harder to work. The entire kibbutz is a giant fruit orchard, and I am picking pears from morning till night. Good thing I love them so much.
Let's play.
Stage movement, second semester, imaginary badminton.
Associate Professor Erika is serving.
Congratulations on your graduation.
Thank you. Your husband graduated from the Academy of Performing Arts last year, right?
2 years ago.
So you have an actor at home.
Pastor on the inside, actor on the outside.
And when will he invite us to the theater?
No, he doesn't want to act, but he got hired by the radio. He is a newsreader.
Oh, does he read goodnight fairy tales?
The ones for adults. News. I just put Pete down to sleep and I'm making pickles. He got on his bike and went in for his night shift.
Teresa, why aren't you passing?
Do you know how long it takes to fly to Israel? 3,000 kilometers.
How's the sea?
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. I just keep working. Oh, and I'm on a diet. We are jealous of the Israeli girls. They're so beautiful and slim, and we're scared they'll lure our boys away.
Good luck then.
But here they live like every day is supposed to be the last. There's always some kind of war going on in the vicinity.
What about Minachko's kids?
Right now, they're collecting the crates and getting ready for work. I'm done. Pears won't wait. Wait. Nathan's coming. He's a tiny kibbutznik. Great joker. You'll like him. Oh, he's sporting a weird smile.
Hey, Russian kids.
What?
Hey, Russian kids. Turn on the radio.
I can still see it as if it was today. We, the kids from Czechoslovakia, are standing in an Israeli kibbutz in the showers and listening to a battery-operated radio placed near the water pipes for better reception.
To all the people of the Czechoslovak Socialist Republic, last night, on the 20th of August, 1968, around 11 p.m., the troops of the Soviet Union, Polish People's Republic, German Democratic Republic, Hungarian People's Republic, and Bulgarian People's Republic crossed the borders of the Czechoslovak Socialist Republic. It happened without the knowledge of the President of the Republic and the Chairman of the National Assembly, Prime Minister, and the General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Czechoslovakia and these authorities. The Central Committee of the Communist Party of Czechoslovakia asked all citizens to stay calm and not to resist the advancement of the troops. Therefore, our military, police, or people's militia did not get any orders to defend the country. The leadership of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Czechoslovakia considers this act to be a violation of principles and relations amongst the socialist countries. as well as a breach of standards of international law.
This night won't be short.
The wolf wants a lamb. Brother, did you close the gate?
Brother, did you close the gate?
Brother, did you close the gates? Everyone. The neighbors are banging on my door and everyone is saying, Erika, turn on the radio.
The phone wakes me up. Dad is talking to someone and Mom is crying in the kitchen.
My girlfriend has a nervous breakdown. She goes outside, sits under a tree, and starts to eat dirt.
I am listening to the news all night. First ours, then German, French, Italian. Everyone is saying Czechoslovakia, Czechoslovakia, Czechoslovakia.
I go out in the street immediately and write with chalk on the sidewalk, Russians go home.
A moment later, the kibbutz is visited by a TV crew. They are asking us, how are things at home? But we know nothing. Will they bomb Bratislava? Are your parents alive? You know how terrible it is not to know anything?
The occupiers expect barricades and counter-revolution. Instead, they are met with shocked people who are asking them, why?
Why?
With my girlfriends, we put on miniskirts and go provoke the soldiers. But there are only scared boys in those tanks. Many of them don't even know what country they are in.
I am scared for Joseph. There are gunshots here, and in Bratislava, and in Prague, the radio building is burning, and the dead are multiplying. A few meters from here, next to the main post office, 16-year-old Peter Legner dies, and Danka Casanova was shot dead by a Soviet soldier on the steps of the assembly hall of the Communist University. She is only 15.
27 divisions, 300,000 troops, 6,000 tanks. All that just because Czechoslovakia wanted to reform socialism so that you could live in it like a human.
A girlfriend from my group cannot take the pressure and jumps out of the window. Minyachko's kids have their first victim. But I will remember this day for something else. On the 21st of August, 1968, I ate pears for the last time. And I cannot stand them.
Petra, take a small suitcase, the smallest suitcase you have, to look inconspicuous, said my dad. You will go to Vienna for a few days until things calm down here. Dubček was kidnapped to Moscow and this can turn into a massacre any minute. Auntie Rezi lives in Vienna. She will wait for you at the train station.
Dad? Finally! What do I do? Should I come back?
I don't know, sweetie. Things are horribly uncertain here. Do you have stuff to eat?
2 hours later, I am standing at the train station with the smallest suitcase. But the word spreads around immediately that the director's daughter emigrated. The train is slow. We are checked by Russian soldiers twice. When our eyes meet, those are not the eyes of the victors. But if not them, who? And why?
I miss you, Dad. I miss all of you. I have to see you.
Let's meet up in Vienna. There's a Turkish shop on Mexico Platz. It's called Kallos. Let's meet there. They let me go to Vienna. The customs officials even stamp your hand. Everyone can pass. 1 month ago, they would have shot us, and now they are helping us.
All right, Vienna. I love you so much, Dad.
My mother-in-law brought me pork fat for pork cracklings and also a rabbit for my brother-in-law. I marinated it, salted it, wrapped it in smoked bacon, and surrounded it with vegetables. Only then I started making the pork cracklings. I worked until dark when Joseph came.
Stop with the pork fat. I've got something important.
Everything is more important to you than what I am doing.
No, this is really serious, Erika. I am preparing President Husak's speech for broadcast. He says that the borders are not a promenade and they will close them tomorrow morning. And during the party meeting in the radio, they discussed that I have organized illegal broadcasts. My boss advised me to leave with my family for Austria before 6 in the morning before they arrest me.
Have you gone crazy? I am making pork cracklings.
It will only be for a few days. We'll go to Vienna.
So, Vienna, for a few days.
For a few days.
When the Russians came, I was making pickles. Now that we are running away from them, I am making pork cracklings. We only have a few hours to pack. At 5 in the morning, we sit in our Skoda 1000 MB that the Czechoslovak motorists nickname 1,000 Little Pains. The pork cracklings and the rabbit stayed in the refrigerator. When we crossed the border, Pete said,
Mom, the Russians can't get us anymore, right?
We stopped for a moment, breathe in the morning air, but really it was to still look out at the lights of Bratislava. I had no idea I would not see them for the next 20 years.
I still have to go to Bratislava.
You're crazy.
They will close the borders tomorrow. They postponed it by 1 day. It was just on the radio.
For God's sake, why do you have to go? Why do you need to go there?
I have tapes from Attention Sharp Turn locked in my desk drawer.
You will be arrested.
They will have nothing to broadcast.
Who cares? One time there will be no Attention Sharp Turn.
You know, I also forgot to pay the last installment for the refrigerator. I don't want to leave as a thief.
What was I to do with him? A pastor. So, at least take the rabbit and the pork cracklings from the fridge. When his boss saw him at the radio, he almost fainted.
For God's sake, Joe?
And pulled out a paper with a picture of him with a headline, organizer of anti-government broadcast immigrated.
The secret police was already here for you.
But my husband must have been guarded by an angel because he safely came back to Vienna on the same day at midnight the Czechoslovak borders turned into an impregnable fortress. We didn't even know how, but we became refugees.
I arrived in Vienna in my Sunday best. I was wearing red pumps, sunglasses, and a new skirt suit. The fear was gone, and I had a feeling that everything would be okay. Auntie Rosie was already waiting for me at the train station. I couldn't help but notice the disappointment in her face. If I was a poor thing in a shabby dress, the good deed would have come easier to her. When we came to her 4-bedroom apartment on Maria Hilferstrasse, Resi quickly took something from my bed and put it in her pocket. It was a flea powder.
You know, mein Lieb,
Started Resi.
I am only poor woman. I don't know what's next. Today Russians there, tomorrow they could be here, but I am Catholic and happy to help.
Resi made the sign of the cross, but looked like she was getting rid of cobwebs from her shoulders.
I live modest, save where I can. Life is terribly expensive. Do not use hot water. We will bathe on Friday by the bed. You can press close, iron.
Resi smiled. She had 2 gold teeth.
I washed 4 baskets of laundry. I am tired. My joints are swollen and the medicine is 20 shillings. What snibbery? I've worked like a slave for Oosterhigh all my life and now 20 shillings for the pills. But you're the doctor, so don't tell me when I tell you these things. On Friday comes here to iron for me 8 shillings an hour. Jesus, dirty Polish woman. She won't come here anymore, but you will help me. Right? Okay, don't open the fridge. It is get warm and the salami will go bad. And don't call from my phone. It is super expensive. Call from the post office. Oh, I'm sure your parents will call here anyway. For 20 years, I have not taken the tablecloths from the cabinet. You shake them, wash them, and then iron them. Oh, also, take down the curtains. I bought an almost second-hand new washing machine. It's super modern. You press buttons and it washes by itself. You won't have a lot of work to do with it leaving.
And so I became a maid at Maria Hilferstrasse.
I used my last money to travel to Vienna. It was raining and I was only wearing a light dress from Israel. I was terribly hungry. I was circling around Wienerwald and my stomach was growling. The best roasted chickens in the world, and I cannot buy them. And those Austrians have such shiny mouths. I went to Mexico Platz right away to see Kallos. But he didn't know my father at all.
Vienna is like a little Czechoslovakia. There are hundreds of Slovaks and Czechs. I run into my classmates from the medical school, and they also don't know where to go or what to do. I see Jan Verich and Ladislav Žudik in the street, and everybody is thinking, should I stay or should I go back?
At the market, they gave me rotten bananas that did not sell during the day, so I enjoyed myself like a queen. A monkey queen. I sleep under the bridge for the first time. It's quite cold here, but it's not that terrible. I repeat to myself, can I make it? I can make it. I'll make it till morning and then Dad will come, finally.
Sweetie.
Daddy.
Mom is sending you some preserves that we made and a fresh brisket stew. I have addresses where they take refugees. You cannot sleep under the bridge. A guy I know is a driver. I will send you packages with him.
No packages came. At the border, the Russians had the whole bus get out with their bags, and only my package was left on the asphalt. Nobody claimed it. The soldiers were afraid of assassination, so they shot it apart on the spot.
Comrade director, where is your daughter? In Vienna, right? We know your Petra is there. You talked to her on the phone yesterday. We can still give her a chance, so how about that? Will you go talk her into coming back? You know how many people are starting to come back on their own? The situation at home is normalizing. What can those traitors expect abroad? Engineers are cleaning toilets and doctors are washing the dishes. Undignified, don't you think? Our party is able to forgive those who got confused by the Western propaganda, but it won't last long.
Will you withdraw the arrest warrant for my daughter?
Yes. But if she doesn't come back within 1 week, she will get 3 years for unauthorized leave of the Republic. It is a generous offer. Your wife, ma'am respects, will stay home. Just in case. Go, comrade, and behave like a communist.
Dad went home and they went for a walk with Mom without a single word. He knew. The apartment was bugged.
I don't want to go to Austria without you, but I'm afraid for Petra. What should I do?
She can't be alone. Go. I'll come later through the Red Cross when it's safe. It may take a while, but they will let me go for sure. I love you.
I love you.
Only years later, Dad told me,
Petra, I was scared my whole life. I was scared what they have on me, and I was petrified how they can use it against you. If they wanted to destroy me, they would first destroy my child. I couldn't leave you alone. I got the travel permit from the captain, who just a few weeks ago was granting it to everyone. He issued the last one for himself and emigrated.
he wrote to his colleagues,
As a communist, I should stay. But as a father of the family, I cannot.
when Dad woke up at home that last morning, he screamed. Mom's hair turned gray overnight. They both cried as she was helping him pile things into the car, including blankets and winter clothes. "We will wait for you," said Dad. He was stopped by Russian soldiers at the border.
Kids, come here, look. What beautiful machine. Skoda Felicia? Look, Sasha Vanya, look how small battery and beautiful dynamo. Technology. Go.
That was the second to last time that Felicia served our family.
When was the last time?
When Dad sold it to a used car dealership. He felt like he was selling a Rolls Royce, but he only got a few shillings for it. The dealership was full of Czechoslovak cars that nobody needed anymore.
And Mom came when?
She wrote a new application every month so they would let her join us. She wrote to the International Red Cross, Women's Union. She wrote to the government and the president. To no avail. Yeah, I never saw her again.
Vienna is a changing station, but where to?
Where to?
Where to?
London?
Stockholm?
Munich,
Hamburg? No.
Amsterdam?
Rome,
Oh, Sydney?
Melbourne?
New York,
Tel Aviv?
Toronto?
Pittsburgh.
I will go back to Israel. I will apply to the university.
Canada opened its borders. We'll go there.
They need a Slovak priest in the United States. In New York, we are supposed to switch planes to Pittsburgh, but the American bishop is waiting for us at the airport and tells us that things have changed. He does not have a job for Joseph. That we should fly to Milwaukee. Apparently we have family there. Yes, we do, but we've never seen them. Something is not right. Only a year later, we learned that it was the first time the bishop had ever seen a pastor from a socialist country. Joe had long hair then, and the bishop immediately suspected that he was a communist, a rebel, a hippie. Who even knows how he managed to escape? Is he a spy? At that moment, our future collapsed. I cried the whole way to Milwaukee. What will we do there? I don't even know where my cousin Dorina lives. The flight attendant noticed that I was crying and speaking some strange language that sometimes the pilot speaks. Can you imagine? His mom was Slovak, but he hardly spoke any Slovak. But he had called the air traffic control tower and the dispatchers found my cousin in Milwaukee. She was getting ready to go to the theater and heard the phone ring. Then I knew that I also had my own angel. Dorina gave us a roof over our heads during the hardest times. Joe didn't have a job. He only did odd jobs. He was unloading rawhide from train cars in his best coat, and he smelled terribly. And a week later, an old skyscraper was getting demolished. I have a job for a year, woohoo! But then after they uninstalled the doorknobs, they demolished the building with dynamite, and the job was over in 2 days. He scrubbed floors at an accumulator factory. He had little notes in his pockets and was learning the Lord's Prayer in English. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, it will be done. His buddies, 2 old black guys, asked him with compassion, "Are you okay?" And Joseph explained to them that he was studying for his exams and that he's a pastor. Since then, they call him Father.
In Toronto, the old emigrants are ignoring us. For them, we're the bastard generation that attended shady communist schools. They are the only Christians, super patriots. But there are many people who help us. The Czechoslovak emigration is like an open-faced sandwich. The soft, aromatic bread at the bottom, that God's gift, those are the ones who left in search of work around World War I. Then there's butter, already a little brown. That's the emigration from the Slovak state. The ham on it are those who left before the Gottwald's coup d'etat in 1948, and the tiny, dried-up caper on the very top. That's us, refugees of 1968. Is it normal that a caper, ham, butter, and bread can't understand each other so much? I'm a doctor, only at home. I'm nothing here. My diploma's no good in Canada. I have to pass the licensing exams. To make ends meet, I wash dishes in an Italian, German, and in the end, also a Czech restaurant.
Avanti, avanti, signorina!
See.
Schnell, schnell, machem.
Yeah.
Move it!
Sure. I don't know any worse smells than a moldy lasagna, spoiled bratwurst, or soured goulash. I almost stopped eating because of that. Every free moment I have, I study. In Quebec, the test is in English and in French. My hands are raw from the detergent, and I used up my nail polish about half a year ago. There was once a quite pretty girl who liked to use makeup and dress nicely. A girl who used to love her body and now is slowly starting to hate it. This ugly face, these hands. I don't care anymore how I look. I wear a baggy t-shirt and old jeans, and in a moment, I will turn into a dried up piece of spaghetti.
Petra.
Dad saved me again. He didn't even know. His condition was getting worse every day. I stopped thinking about myself, and I started to worry about him. Every day he put his best suit on, and then he went in for an interview for some company, and everyone loved his patents, but did not offer him a job because he did not have any Canadian experience. In Canada, you can get a job only if you have Canadian experience. But you cannot get Canadian experience other than by working in Canada. And that was killing my dad.
I study at the University of Haifa. I study social sciences, and my boyfriend Milan studies technology. We learn Hebrew, but that's not the worst thing. We are surrounded by a huge bureaucracy, and the offices are usually staffed by Jews who left the Soviet Union. Subconsciously, we don't trust them. But that's still not the worst. Israel is in a permanent state of war. Milan has to report for his military service soon, and if I apply for citizenship, I will have to serve in the army too. In Israel, women wear uniforms too. But the absolutely worst thing of all is the heat. The local climate is killing us. We suffer in that terrible heat, and finally, we decide to leave for London. No, it wasn't Hebrew or the army. It was the heat that chased us away. By avoiding his military service, Milan committed a crime. Now, there is an arrest warrant for him, not only in Czechoslovakia, but also in Israel. And we feel like Bonnie and Clyde, but our only crime is that we want to live as far away as possible from any armies in the world. God. Slovak meadow. You know, I hated folklore at home because communists turned it into propaganda. The moment the radio started to squeal Slovak meadows, I was turning it off. And now,
The thing that I miss the most is rye bread. American bread tastes like cotton, and the butter is salty. I found out that there are two kinds of English, the one that I speak and the another one that the rest of the world speaks. I wanted to make noodles for the family, so I went to buy a strainer. Please, madame, one Sitco.
Sorry?
Sitco. Sitcow.
Sorry?
Sitco. Sitcow. I had 2 semesters of English at the Communist University, but the only thing I could say was scientific and technological progress.
Scientific and technological progress.
Sitcow. S-E-T-K. No, but then it dawned on me. Sitcow. Spaghetti stop. Water go ahead.
Spaghetti stop. Water go ahead.
Spaghetti stop. Water go ahead.
And family happiness is saved. When we leave my cousin, I ask her with tears in my eyes, Darina, how could I ever repay you?
Help someone who will need it like you did.
How was your French, Petra?
Merci beaucoup, papa. Très bien.
Should I quiz you on antibiotics?
I know them.
Do you want to take a walk with me?
I have to study. What's up, Dad? Is your stomach bothering you?
I'm okay.
Fine. Let's go for a walk.
I can't go on like this.
You got a letter again.
They are writing to me from the factory. To come back, that I acted wrong. All my former colleagues signed it. Petra, I betrayed them.
Oh, you didn't betray anyone, Dad. You saved yourself and me. Those letters are dictated by the secret police.
I am going home tomorrow.
We have no place to go back to, Dad. We will get 3 years.
I don't care. I'm packing. I can't live here.
Stupid London.
Stupid Toronto. Nothing here is like at home.
Salt is not salty enough. Sugar is not sweet enough.
You can't buy black thread for your elastic pants.
You drive me crazy, Dad. Where do you want to go?
Home! To Czechoslovakia. I am dying here, Petra.
We're packing.
All right. So we're packing.
We're going away.
We're leaving.
I won't be here.
I'm done.
I'm going.
We're packing.
We're packing.
We're packing.
We're packing. In the end, Joseph and I moved to East Chicago. On day 1, the landlord wants 2 months of rent in advance. We don't have a single dollar left for food, and we have the whole weekend ahead of us. In the evening, our son says,
Mom, I'm hungry.
let's go for a walk. Pete somehow falls asleep, but the first thing he says in the morning,
Mom, I'm hungry.
at lunchtime, I don't know what else I can do. Suddenly, there's a knock on the door. A neighbor comes in and says that a new pastor probably didn't have time to go shopping and that she was bringing a cleaned chicken. And that she probably also doesn't have a pot to cook it in. So she brought the pot. She put everything on the table, said goodbye, and left. We cooked that chicken in deep silence. Just like that. No salt. We didn't even have salt. It was the best soup we had ever tasted. existed in our lives. Over time, things get better. In the blink of an eye, a year passed that we were in America, and I said to myself, we need to celebrate. I will make pork schnitzels for dinner.
Pork schnitzels?
Schnitzels?
Taste of home.
Home.
In the supermarket, play supermarket. Bigger. I can find everything by the pictures. I buy meat, eggs, flour. Only thing I can't find, the breadcrumbs.
Can I help you, madam?
Yes. Notice how my word stock has improved. Yes, and I pantomime nicely like Milan Slatic how to make schnitzels. A schnitzel is a layer of meat and flour and eggs and what's this? I'm showing the last layer of the schnitzels. And what's this?
I don't understand, madam.
All the women in the supermarket congregate and start consulting. What is this? Suddenly, one of them shouts,
I know what she wants!
For those who are only contemplating immigration, we offer a crash course.
I know what she wants!
I know what she wants!
I remember my grandmother used to make schnitzels by dipping them in flour, eggs, and breadcrumbs.
I remember my grandmother used to make schnitzels by dipping them in flour, eggs, and breadcrumbs.
yes.
She wants breadcrumbs!
She wants breadcrumbs!
Breadcrumbs! Breadcrumbs!
Breadcrumbs.
Hallelujah! Breadcrumbs!
Breadcrumbs!
I couldn't find them because Americans already have ready-made breading. They buy it in a bag, throw the meat in, and shake, shake, shake. Breadcrumbs. They shake, and it's all breaded.
Breadcrumbs!
Breadcrumbs.
Breadcrumbs! Hallelujah! Breadcrumbs!
Breadcrumbs. Today we learned a few new things. Repeat after me. Breadcrumbs.
Breadcrumbs.
Everyone, breadcrumbs. Excellent. Spaghetti stop. Water go ahead.
Spaghetti stop. Water go ahead.
And we also learned a few new phrases used by the Slovak community abroad. Tram, streetcar.
Streetcar.
They are driving downtown. Please repeat after me.
They are driving downtown.
Cross the street to church. Cross the street to church.
Cross the street to church.
Watch the steps. Watch the steps.
Watch the steps.
They watched TV.
They watched TV.
They watched TV.
Excellent.
We don't have silverware, so our friends get gas at the Esso gas station. Right now, their gas is on sale. Since then, we've been eating with Esso forks, cutting with Esso knives, stirring with Esso spoons, and ladling with Esso ladles.
Our escape from Israel through London finally ended in Toronto. We rented a studio apartment. Oh, ladies, this chair is the so-called first emigrant model. It has seen many owners. Someone always buys it as their very first piece of furniture, and when they start doing better, they sell it to someone else. I really love this chair. I am so proud of it. But you have no idea how much I am looking forward to selling it.
In New York, we discovered a company called Teatr cheese where you can order real Slovak sheep cheese. But it only comes in 20-kilo containers. So because of this, I have the biggest refrigerator. So that's where the cheap cheese is staying. All of us who have chipped in get together on Fridays in our apartment and we have a sheep cheese day.
You look great.
Great.
You got a new hairdo. What shall we make today?
For the starter, sheep cheese sandwiches, soup, sheep cheese soup, main course, sheep cheese dumplings, and dessert, sheep cheese turnovers with prune plum jelly. Sometimes they invite us to a restaurant in East Chicago and everyone asks whether we are left-handed.
Oh, because Americans hold their forks in the right hand, right?
Is this an Esso fork?
It also could be an OMV or Shell. Slovna, Benzina. Clearly there's room for some sponsors.
First, they cut the meat with their right hand and then set the knife aside. Take the fork in their right hand, and then they lay the left hand on the table and stab the meat with the right hand.
It originated in the Wild West when you were not allowed to have a knife in your hand while eating so that you could not attack anyone.
They say that's how they recognized American spies during war.
Do you also have a problem with the garlic here?
Oh, everywhere.
Every rental place has a sign in the kitchen. Use of garlic is strictly forbidden.
Use of garlic is strictly forbidden.
Use of garlic, strictly forbidden.
Learn a new phrase.
This was fantastic.
Excellent sheep cheese day.
See you next Friday. One family has their grandmother visiting from Livorno. Very moved, they take her to look at the sunset over the ocean. The old lady looks at the horizonless water, but the last rays of the sun turn into liquid gold. And after a moment, she says, "Meh, water." Girls, are we happy? Do we have good lives?
We live the best we can, right?
Yes, yes. Aren't we missing something?
You mean something substantial?
Something internal.
Even metaphysical?
Something that is hard to pinpoint.
We don't know what it is, but we know we're missing it.
More and more.
Girls, I think I understand.
Do you feel it too?
For a long time. And I know what will help. Girls, we have to make pickled cabbage. Right away. Right away.
Pickled cabbage.
Pickled cabbage.
Pickled cabbage.
The Canadian steaks need a change. Are you sure pickled cabbage will help?
It is the taste of home and the source of vitamins in one. Are you with me?
Of course.
The Canadians must love it too.
If you call it 7 vegetables.
7 vegetables. Your Joe is finally ordained, right?
Yes, but he's having trouble with English. His colleagues help him.
What do they cook in the pastor's house?
Chicken stew, goulash, walnut dumplings, sauerkraut soup, and other tastes of home.
I heard about your lunches. The word spread around.
Pastors within hundreds of miles are competing to help Joe with his sermons.
Not to mention when we have pickled cabbage.
How's your dad?
Every morning he washes up, shaves, puts on his best suit, and takes out the trash. And then he sits in front of the house until the evening staring at the sky. Ever since I passed the licensing exams, he has nothing to do. He's quizzing me every day.
Finally, you're a doctor? Congratulations.
Do you have someone?
Oh, girls, I'm married to medicine.
You need to have someone, otherwise you'll go crazy.
How about Milan?
Still good. It's a miracle. Everyone around us getting a divorce, it's strengthened us.
Well, immigration will test the relationships.
Sorry, Erika, for a strange question. I'm Jewish, and I've never been to church. I only heard the organ from the outside. Beautiful music. What does a pastor's wife do?
Other than pickled cabbage? She always has to go to church as an example for others. She always has to lead every cookout and church lunch or banquet. She always has to bring bread and lead the choir. And if an organ player leaves, she takes his place and plays. She dresses modestly because everything she and the children have is from donations. She'll listen to everyone, even if they only want to talk because they have nothing better to do. And she keeps a tidy home because she has to accept visitors at any time, night and day. And she's friends with everyone, but not too much because then the others get jealous. And she has to hold Christmas dinner indefinitely because there's a family in crisis that requires the pastor's help. And all this because she loves her husband. because she already said yes to him. Girls, did we overdo it with the pickled cabbage? We have a full bathtub. Where shall we put it?
We'll eat it.
We ate it for the next 5 years, moved with it 3 times until it ended up with us in Toronto. For the next 5 years, we couldn't even tolerate the smell.
Pickled cabbage, vintage 1969. Would you like some? I'll take it on the road with me. Maybe I'll go be a doctor and Sue Lookout.
Oh my God, that's close to the Arctic Circle.
It's not that far.
Does your dad like winter?
I haven't told him yet.
Do Inuits live there?
They do. I took a survival course in case we crash.
What do you mean crash?
There you fly to see your patients. So during that course, they give you an instructor, a sleeping bag, matches, and a saw. We'll spend 2 days and 1 night outdoors.
With the instructor?
No, with a seal.
Young? Handsome?
He was young and handsome, but minus 23.
Oh, God, any libido would freeze. Sorry, Erika.
You don't have to go easy on me. I have 2 children.
So, what about that instructor?
We ate nuts and drank boiled snow. And it totally cleared my head. I almost felt sorry when the helicopter came to get us.
Petra, it's for you.
Dad collapsed. By the time they got to the hospital, he died in the ambulance. If I was with him, he could still be alive. Stupid pickled cabbage.
New Year's Eve, 1969.
Happy 1970!
1970.
Oh, I have a great book, 100 Cocktails. Hold on. What shall we have? Ooh, this one is a beautiful color. Mai Tai, 3 tablespoons white rum, 4 teaspoons dark rum, 2 teaspoons curacao, 2 teaspoons lime juice, 3 teaspoons almond syrup. Shake with ice cubes and strain. Garnish with pineapple, mint, and lime twists.
We don't have curacao. We have cocoa, but that's not the same.
Black Russian. 3 tablespoons vodka, 4 teaspoons coffee liqueur, Kahlua, ice cubes. Oh, and if you add Coca-Cola, you get a dirty Black Russian. I'm not drinking any Russians.
Oh, we can pardon vodka.
Clemency granted. Vodka is not at fault.
Screwdriver. Vodka with orange juice. 1 part vodka, 2 parts orange juice.
And a Slovak screwdriver is 2 parts vodka, 1 part juice.
Do you know what a gimlet is? It's gin and lime juice.
Hey, would anyone else like a screwdriver? Because I'll make one for you now that it's New Year's Eve. I mean, let's see. Who do we have? Really? I mean, Elliot Breyer. Do you want one? Ashley Brent. Alex Evans? I'll make it for you. We are celebrating. Come on. It's a Sunday. What about you, Suzanne Winland, Will Callahan, Natalie Ludroff, Louise Hamill? Drink with us. That's all I'm saying. Or a Bloody Mary. That also works.
Dear audience, by the time we finish mixing here, the play is coming to an end. The women that inspired us have not been made up, and any resemblance to actual persons was intentional. Let's toast to them. Teresa,
completed her university studies in Toronto. When she graduated, even the Indian kids had their family there. Only she in Milan had no one. On that graduation photo, she still looking to see if anyone will show up.
Petra?
She was a doctor in northern Canada. She wouldn't have changed it for anything. She was running all her life. There, at the edge of the world. Thank God one can't run any further.
Erika.
She promised she would help refugees, and that became her job. Until 1989, whole families with children escaped Czechoslovakia. They paid for vacation in Cuba, and when the plane has a stopover in Montreal to refuel, they run. They jump from that height without stairs onto concrete, breaking their legs. But they are free. Nobody will believe now what we were able to do for freedom that we curse so much today. Happy New Year.
To the new year.
To the new year.
Now we all clap for ourselves because we can't hear anyone.
Nice. Congratulations. That was amazing. That was amazing.
Congrats, everyone. Great work. Really, really beautiful.
It was terrific. It was terrific. I feel like I'm hungry and thirsty. You must be too. So thank you so much for this wonderful reading that brought back so many memories, good and bad, and definitely, feelings like making something good for dinner. But I just would like maybe start with a simple question. How Christina and the actresses, how did you like the play, or what did you like, or what was difficult for you?
Yeah, I loved this story and loved jumping into the play because although there's a lot of cultural differences and cultural aspects that I was not personally familiar with, the engine or the heartbeat of the play was something that I can relate to personally and culturally, of what it means to no longer be welcomed or safe in your home, and what that means for you and your family, and how portable home life is, even in the midst of finding a new one and finding a new place to define as home. So those were some universal themes that I personally was able to latch onto, and working with our actors, bringing their own backgrounds and their own experiences, and then just throwing in a whole bunch of Googling and dramaturgy on our own. We were able to figure out a balance of bringing our truths to this play while honoring the truths of the play itself as much as possible.
Thank you.
Well, I can answer that too. So I connected a lot with this play. My family is from Eastern Europe and immigrated in the 50s. And a lot of the stories that are told here are very resonant with me. Petra's father reminds me a lot of my great-grandfather, was always dressed in his suit and got here and worked 4 jobs to support the family. And, we've kept a lot of those traditions alive. And last summer, we actually visited that area. We went to Bratislava and went with my grandmother, and it was a very profound experience, a beautiful experience. I'm getting a little choked up talking about it. But every time I work on this, I feel very connected to that part of my heritage. So it was a very meaningful experience for me.
That's wonderful. That's great.
I'll add your question about going about working on this. I think what was so interesting is, the audience doesn't get to see, but the way this play is formatted is each portion has a title. So there might be titled Pickles or Packing, which was hard to do on Zoom, but is very interesting when reading the play to kind of discover why were these moments highlighted? Why are these characters the ones going through the story? And that to me was one of my favorite things that we went through, was just kind of really looking at what it all meant in the end and the importance of each tiny detail, each aspect of it.
Because it's true that it's not easy, because there are 3 characters on the stage, and that was true about the real play, but they play also all the other relatives or other characters. So Zoom is, I imagine, is pretty challenging for that as well. But you did a brilliant job. And I think we are bringing William. Vilo, jste někde? We don't see you.
Ja som tu, ale neviem, počujete ma?
Ano, slyšíme vás, ale nevidíme vás.
Áno, pokúšam sa to zapnúť, ale...
Někde vlevo dole by měla být...
Áno, ja to vidím, len to nejde, neviem prečo.
Máte kameru vypnutou, teď ji máte zapnutou a nevím, proč vám teda nefunguje.
No práve, ani ja neviem. Tak máme aspoň sound, no.
Okay, so I'm sorry, William, the director his camera seems to be not working, or maybe kdybyste se třeba zkusil připojit znova, odpojit se a znova připojit.
Môžem to skúsiť. Zvládla by si ma pripojiť, Margareta?
Okay, so he will try to switch off, join us again.
Že znovu sa pripojiť. A počkaj. Začni svetlo, veď není ma vidieť.
So maybe, možná jsme vás neviděli, protože...
Okay.
Ja som mal zhasnuté svetlo. Sorry.
Terrific. Zuzana, can I ask you to, or Christina is going to look at the questions, or we can start with you, Vilo. Můžete nám ještě třeba, jestli jste měl nějaký, co se vám líbilo, co se vám nelíbilo, if you had a chance to see the reading, what you understood, what you didn't.
No, ja chcem poďakovať najmä dievčatám za tú energiu, čo do toho vložili, keby ste to mohli preložiť.
I would really love to thank the girls for the energy that they brought into the piece.
Ja som tú hru režíroval pre tiež 3 herečky, z toho Erika reálne má asi 63 rokov. Čiže som to mal generačne oveľa prudšie, ale myslím, dievčatá to perfektne zvládli aj vo svojom mladom veku sa dostať do tých poloh, pretože samozrejme nejde o vek, ale ide o tú existenciálnu situáciu, že ste v tom novom svete stratení a to dievčatá dali.
So I directed this play a while back, and Erika, for instance, was a lady who was about 63. So there was also a generational divide, which was not here, but you ladies brought the energy into that and the heart that it really was about the existential situation, and it really wasn't about the age so much.
Spaghetti stop a water go ahead, to je originál Erika.
Spaghetti stop and water go ahead, that is original Erika.
Wow.
That's great.
Pavel, I just want to jump in quickly because our director, Christina, has to hop off. She's a very busy working professional. So if anyone has a question just for Christina before she hops off, go ahead. Otherwise, we will say thanks and goodbye, and we'll stay on for the rest of the Q&A.
Yeah.
And I just want to say thank you so much to Stephanie, to Pavla, to everyone for reaching out. And it was such a privilege and a joy to be able to tackle this story with the artists at hand. And I don't think this ever would have fallen into my lap otherwise. So I'm very, very thankful.
Thank you so much. Thank you
And I would like to congratulate to you. It was really amazing part and acting but also with directing, the way how you came across with some perplexities and problems of the staging on Zoom. So thank you. It was really, you moved me really. I was touched as if I was reading and listening to the play for the first time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your Sunday.
You too.
Alrighty.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Zuzana, will you do you have any questions for Miloš, or shall we look what the audience is asking? You have to turn on your mic.
I'm just following on what Vilo already said, that the fact that there was no generation gap between the three girls basically made it even more fascinating for me, because in fact it was not a crucial point who had what age were the girls, and this was really like charming, like talking and pretending that it's not going about very, very difficult periods of their lives. And all of you were able to talk about very sensitive issues in a very deep manner. So I just trying to thank you once more. I think we should have seen this in Slovakia as well. Right. And I also, if you can imagine, you are linked to your homes and to Zooms, but also William's theater is very limited. It's a very small place. It's really in basement. So you were almost as if in real life in Bratislava Central, in a small place, small scene, where everyone is forced to play many characters, and you did it perfectly. So
I think we all felt like we traveled for the first time this year to a bunch of different places.
Yeah.
It was a nice break.
Yeah.
We do have some questions from the audience I'd love to ask. Also, for anyone watching still, thank you for staying. I had the privilege of working on the production side of this as well, which is why I'm going to ask some of these questions. So first of all, Louise, it is asked if this was going to be recorded. The performance will be recorded, and then Pavla will be putting it on YouTube.
Yes.
Great. Okay. And so Helena is asking, why the choice of presenting the plays translated in English?
So that's probably a question for me. So the festival Rehearsal for Truth started in 2017, and with bringing European companies to perform in New York at Bohemian National Hall. It's a huge endeavor. We have incredible number of partners, from 20 to 30 partners every year to make it happen. But then we were lucky enough to receive some extra funding. And so we decided that we would like to work also with American actors and to support, plays in translation. And so that's why we decided that we would do stage readings of Central European playwrights. And we started 2 years ago. So the first year, the readings were live. They were also at Bohemian National Hall, so they were real stage readings. And last year, we managed to switch them to Zoom. We were planning them together with Stephanie for real readings, but luckily we were able to start using Zoom. And whereas it has many shortcomings, we can't see the attendees and we can't meet in person. I think there are some wonderful things that work on Zoom actually for stage reading, and that may be more for the actors to tell about your experience with Zoom, because I think it's a different acting, I imagine.
Abigail, do you want to comment? And also, of course, this is for both of you, all three of us. Do you want to comment on doing this over Zoom and working on it as an actor as opposed to doing it live?
Well, I'll say, first of all, it makes scheduling much easier because you can Zoom from anywhere. And I can say I've rehearsed this with them in like 8 different locations. I've been quite busy this last couple weeks. So yeah, it makes for you're able to say yes to a project, I think, a little quicker because you can do it from your home. But also, it's kind of exciting to have to come up with only, singular camera, usually just like this part up, acting choices that are strong enough that maybe you wouldn't have to worry about or think about if this was on stage, because it would just not translate the same way. So I think that that's fun. It feels like a mix of film and theater, which has been fun to play around with, because you have to kind of, for film, subdue your acting, quiet it down, and then on stage, expand it for the people in the back. So it's been fun to play around with doing straight theater on a camera.
I will echo that. I think it creates kind of an intimacy that can be created in theater, particularly like in small theaters, but it feels like almost like a black box energy, but you get to see what's going on in people's eyes, which I think is really good. And then this is like a little actory talk, but sometimes what we talk about is lines being vertical or horizontal. And basically that means like, is your intention to affect the other person, or are you kind of remaining stagnant in like what you think is going on in your brain? And so the hope is that it's, more of your lines and more of your intentions are directed towards the other people in the scene with you that you're working with, because it creates a more dynamic scene. And I find that on Zoom, because I know the person is not really right in front of me, I have this like inherent desire to like reach towards them as much as I can with the content and like with the conversation. And so it actually opens up like a freedom to really to try and connect with them in a way that you might rest back on if you were in person, because you're like, you're right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree. It's also a fun added layer when you are living with someone in the, she knocks, I can hear it. So that was while we're waiting on some other questions, if anyone has, I actually have a question for you, Katarina, about translating. So you translated this play.
I did.
So can you tell us, because I think it's so interesting, I think a lot of us don't understand that it's not just as simple as this word means this in English, and that it's more about the meaning, I'm assuming. Can you just talk a little bit about that process of translating this play?
I think you actually said exactly what I tell anyone who cares to listen. You never translate words, you always translate the meaning. And if you do a good job, you can also interpret the sentiment and the mood and everything that goes into that. And this was a wonderful play. And I was really moved when I was translating it. But I have to say, ladies, I was so moved when I was just watching it right now. And I was already familiar with the material. So you did a spectacular job. And I really had, it was a wonderful experience for me to translate it. Of course, it was, I am Slovak, so it was about my country. I am quite familiar with it, so I know all of the little details. The challenge, for instance, was when in the play itself, sometimes the line was in Slovak, many times when you were repeating the lines, all three of you, one of those lines would have been in the original, would have been in Slovak, the other one would have been in English, which would be really difficult to replicate when you were doing it for an English-speaking audience. But I think the emotional effect was about the same. So I hope the message was conveyed.
I can't wait to tell that to Christina.
Yeah.
That makes, so that's really fun to know.
That makes sense.
We also have a comment, which I'd love for everyone to know. Charles wants to mention that anyone who may be interested in reading the novelized version of the story, it's going to be published this summer in an English translation by, I'm going to butcher this, Mandel Villar Press. Right?
And also I looked into the Q&A, and Steph is modest enough and not reading, although I don't know if the audience can see them, but they write, wow, I'm speechless. That was so well done. Louis from Canada, wonderful. I'm sorry I must go, but congratulations all. No question, this was fun. Thank you. You did an awesome job. Yes, and maybe I'll have, let's see if somebody else comes with a question, but I have one question for Vilo also, and that is if he could say something about what's going on in Slovakia theater these days.
William, toto bola otázka na vás. Mohli by ste prosím povedať, čo sa v tejto chvíli deje na Slovensku v oblasti divadla?
No, nedeje sa nič, lebo divadlá sú stále zatvorené, ale napriek tomu už začali skúšať a veríme, že v lete otvoríme.
Well, nothing is happening right now because all of the theaters are closed, like everywhere. But they already started rehearsing, and we are hoping that we would be able to open perhaps in the summer.
Ja našťastie som okrem dramatika aj spisovateľ, takže cez tie všetky lockdowny som napísal jeden román, ktorý dokončujem práve. Takže ako pre prozaika je to dobré, ale pre dramatika to nie sú dobré časy.
In addition to being a playwright, I am also a writer, a novelist. So I was very lucky that during the lockdown, I wrote a novel, and I'm just putting some finishing touches on it. So for a writer, the lockdown, that was not so bad, but for a playwright, it's very hard.
And during, I didn't write a novel during this pandemic.
I was going to say, I feel quite
yeah.
not as productive.
Yeah.
Ste veľmi skromní, oni zatiaľ nič nenapísali.
Tak, všetko je pred nimi.
Everything is ahead of you.
Yeah. But as I said, he's really prolific, really. So William is writing a couple of plays a year. So he should be really admired by his productivity, and not only writing but also producing and putting on stage. So that's amazing. But he has a very good wife, so
I'd like to mention that we hope that we may bring this Williams company Gunagu Theater to New York when one day the borders open and people can travel again. They already had a travel grant for last year, for September 2020, to come and perform this play. So hopefully we will be able to do it one day soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
it would be very nice if you can compare what you experienced in your acting with the Slovak production. We can mention that Erika was played by very famous Slovak actress. Her name is Zuzana Kronerová, and she's really best loved comedian and tragic actress as well. So I think if she's in New York one time, she can be really enjoyed by American audience as well.
Wow, I love that. Emma, you lived up to it, to a very famous actress.
I know.
Yeah,
The bar
yeah,
was
definitely.
high. I'm happy I didn't know that before.
Who knew you were getting the star role? Now I'm upset.
Yeah, definitely.
Louise, to
And
answer-
her father got the Oscar, so yeah, even more.
even
Okay.
I love learning all of these things. Well, we're going to wrap this up, but Louise, you will not see the three of us again during this festival. You might see me on asking some questions after a reading, and Pavla as well, but you're lucky you caught this one-time thing, besides the fact that it will be on YouTube. So Pavla, I will turn it over to you, but first I just want to say thank you so much to the three of you, William, just to allow us to do your play. It's been such an incredible experience, not only learning about these characters and going through the play, but learning more about the culture and the history along the way. And it's been such a privilege just to talk to the three of you today. So thank you so much. And of course, Pavla.
And I'm cooking everything in the script. Every last thing I'm gonna make.
Are we invited? Are we invited?
Yes, everyone's invited.
Very
You
hungry.
said I'd make
Louise, you're coming too.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So thank you to William and Katarina, Zuzana from Slovakia, and thank you. I will read Teresa, Petra, and all the Christina and Erika. Thank you for your wonderful performance.